Hi there, and welcome to the inaugural edition of the Fat Guy with a Ponytail podcast. You may ask yourself, why is it called that? No, you probably wouldn't ask yourself that because it's kind of obvious if you look here. What is the Fat Guy with a Ponytail podcast? What is that? Well, uh, hopefully this blog or vlog or whatever this is, I don't know what's going to happen with this really. More than anything else, it's probably just going to be me talking to no one or talking to maybe three people on the internet, which is cool. Um, the reason I'm building this podcast is because what I want is it a podcast? It's not really a podcast. The reason that I'm doing this is because in about 7 days from now, I'm going to be getting a weight loss surgery. Roux-en-Y, I think it is, or the RNY bypass surgery. My heaviest weight to date, I think, I'm not there anymore, but is 350, which is outrageous. That's two people's worth of weight. And how do we get here? Eating and not moving. That's pretty much the obvious reason. There's a lot of other psychological reasons, but you may ask yourself also, as you're looking at this video, what am I going to tell you? Probably nothing that you don't know already. Again, we're mostly capturing this because we're hoping that maybe this will be my own transformation story, or at least a reason to keep going if the light fails and there's nothing else to be found. I'm putting this under the what did I call this account? I'm putting this under the Regeneration Joe channel identifier because this is sort of a regeneration for me. I'm 51 years old and been heavy all my life for the most part, and the hope is that this is turning a corner. We always hope that that's the case, and we've heard the story over and over again. I think one of the interesting statistics that I found on the interwebs, I think it's somewhere in Wikipedia, I'll post a link if I can find it, is that 80% of the traditional methods of weight loss, your eat less, move more, fail. For obvious reasons. Everybody's been on a diet, sticking to it's hard. Kudos to the 20% who can make it happen, and I'm pleased for them. And I was one of those for a short period of time. Does it count if you fall off the wagon and then you get fat again? Maybe not. I don't know. It counts for a minute. At any rate, with the bypass surgery or weight loss surgery, the statistic I had read was an 80% success rate, which is basically flipping the script. Pretty much like exactly that. 80% fail to 80% success, which sounds like pretty good odds for me. And I don't come to this decision lightly. Quite honestly, the moment that I came here to deciding that this is what I needed to do, I guess if we go back last year, honestly, joined a band maybe a year and a half ago, filled in for a pirate band. That's another story. We could talk about my pirate life off screen or something. We can talk about that. But in the band that I was in, we do a lot of festivals up and down the East Coast in the summer, usually from about April till October, and those sets that we do are very physical. There's a lot of jumping. There's a lot of activity. And that's part of the show. There's stomping, there's jumping. It's exciting, and I really love it. It's 4 guys, including myself, and my bandmates are fantastic, and 2 of them, brothers, are about 20 to 30 years younger than me. Also not surprising, and typically not a big time, but they're also probably half a person to me as well. So a lot of their jumping, I mean, it's exciting. If you're in the crowd, you're waiting for that moment that maybe the fat guy with the ponytail falls over and drops dead, kind of like watching an auto race, and you're watching NASCAR, and people go around and around and around and around, laps and laps and laps, and you're really just waiting for that crash to happen. I know NASCAR fans, it's more important than that, and there's a whole lot of engineering and pit crew stuff that goes on with that. Not dissing your sport, but at the same time, for me, the car crashes are the spectacular and terrible. We're not looking for injuries, but that's the soundbite. That's the video capture that we all see, and that's, we see that in football with the big hits. So somebody coming to a show to watch to see if this is the show where Joe basically jumps one too many times and falls over dead from a heart attack, stroke, or who knows what, or just falls. That's pretty exciting. It's also interesting. It gets people excited to say, wow, here's a guy who's like 51 years old, 350 pounds, and he's catching air. That's pretty impressive. And it is, and it's hard. And last year when I did that, it was life-changing for me, in that the sets were really, really difficult. Difficult to capture, and I guess we need to make this stop and this stop, and maybe this will help. So those sets last year were really hard and really physical, and I found myself struggling to keep up and struggling to do a lot of things that my body used to be able to do a little better, even just a little. And then you combine that with the way the season ended last year. In September, we finished up at Marcus Hook, Pennsylvania, and which is a great town, by the way. And when we finished up in Marcus Hook, the main fiddle player in the band, who's an amazing musician, has been doing not just pirate music, but bluegrass and other bands in the New York area, years and years and years. At any rate, he had a heart attack, not on stage, or it might have been on stage. He didn't even necessarily realize he had a heart attack, but he had the classic signs, didn't feel so great, little weak, and the old left arm problem. Went to see his doc, and sure enough, he had a heart attack and had a quintuple bypass. So over the off season, he went through, I think, double pneumonia, 2 surgeries, possibly 3, as they redid a bunch of work, and it took its toll on him. And I guess it's those events more than anything else that said, man, if you want to keep doing this, Joe, and you do love to play music, and I've loved to play music since, I don't know, let's say 8, 9, like every kid, played violin and other things like that, but really love playing my guitar and singing in this band, and other bands too. I've got quite a collection of guitars, which maybe I'll introduce you to in some other time. But I love playing music so much, so if the choice is eat, drink, and be merry and do what I want, and let my body continue to deteriorate and take my chances, or do we take care of me and let me continue to play music, because it doesn't seem like those things are going to be sustainable the way that I had been going. So I made the call. This is not my first time going to weight loss surgery as well. My first time, I think, was about 6 years ago, where I tried to do this. And I had gotten all the paperwork together. It's not cheap. Insurance is difficult. Those of you who are considering it out there already know this. And going through the process is typically about 6 months up front of just monitored diet and exercise. I can't say enough nice things about GBMC here and their comp office, which is, I think, Comprehensive Obesity Management, and the P, we don't know what it stands for. Probably practice, could be just because P. It's maybe like a Unix thing, like, Jonathan's own version of Emacs is Jove, and so Pine is not Elm. Probably in that same universe of funny things to do with words and acronyms. At any rate, I did that earlier, and I got to the point where we realized that we had sleep apnea, and I kind of knew this because everybody kind of said, Joe, you snore, and not a real big surprise if you've met my dad and my sister. I think both of us have woken ourselves up and each other up with the kind of snoring and stopping of breathing that happens in our family. So I was getting that. You need like 30 days of monitored sort of with a CPAP machine, which was an alien thing to have on my face, which quite is literal these days. I wish I had one. That's a different story. Um, I didn't like it. I stopped about 15 days in, struggled with it a little bit. And then there was a divorce, separation. Well, that's not really true. There was earlier separation and divorce. Let's say this is 2012. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the time frame for this. Let's say 5 years back from today. So let's call it 2012 or 2013. At any rate, it didn't work, and it didn't work because the insurance changed, and you couldn't really stick with the program. And I thought to myself, I think it was 305 then. That's okay. I can do this myself. I just need to hunker down and focus. And as you already can do the math, that didn't work out so well over time. So here it is, 2019, and we're now 7 days away from surgery day, which is sort of why we're making the video now, to kind of capture those bits and pieces of things that are going to happen. I think other contributing factors to the bump is 2015 was a rough year. We had both my marriage finally, disintegrating to the point where we weren't. It was unlikely that we were going to be friends. That turned out differently in the end, but it was pretty rough. And well, I lost my house, not being able to pay for a house on my own on a single income, and the house was falling apart. So there's a short sale of a house and the feeling of failure that goes with that. Then lost two friends, and most importantly, I lost my sister on January 1 of 2016. And I think all of these things really just signposts on the road that says, maybe you got to do something. But working through all that took a little bit of time, and probably a whole lot of alcohol. No joke. I didn't turn into an alcoholic, although that runs in the family. But I like a good drink, and sometimes I get a little carried away. And some of those people who know me, who've seen me get carried away, say, someone even once coined the term shoe throwing drunk, which, long story but accurate. If you think if you're angry enough to start throwing shoes, that's pretty angry. At any rate, it was a bad year, and I don't think for a minute that I'm on the other side of all that, like I'm all better. I think you never get over certain things, but I'm ready to really kind of focus on trying to maybe not die. I don't know. On some level, I think there's a certain passive-aggressive suicide that goes with, at least for me, the not giving a shit. Like, if I just give a shit, stop giving a shit, and the body will do what it's going to do, and I can just make it stop. Like anything else. You abuse food, you abuse alcohol, you abuse drugs, whatever. And this is not going to be, I'm a pretty not feel-good kumbaya hippie. I'm not dissing that either, but I'd like to think I'm pretty real. So we're trying. We'll see how it goes. I'm scared about 7 days from now. There's a lot of changes. This is not like I'm looking for a miracle pill. I mean, that's another thing I guess I should talk about is, for me, this surgery is not about looking better and looking skinny. This is more about feeling better, and I don't even think I'm going to be feeling fit. I mean, obviously there's going to have to be exercise and lifting of weights and that kind of thing, and a more active lifestyle than I've been living, to help make that happen. But this is not a panacea. This is really an opportunity, a tool in a set of tools that I'm going to be applying over the next couple months, years, maybe for the rest of my life, quite likely, to try to change things for the better, so that maybe I can be around a little longer and do some of the things that are on my bucket list of things. I mean, another one was I had always mentioned that I was going to walk the Appalachian Trail at age 50, or before I'm 50, and I came and went. Couldn't go skiing with my uncle because, I'm just too fat to put on skis and tear my knees to pieces. Had knee surgery last year. Same reason. So many reasons that are basically saying, Joe, you got to do something, and if it means doing something drastic and dramatic that everybody else is going to give you eyeballs about, well, maybe that's what it takes for you to get it through your thick head. So we're giving it a whirl. Funny thing is, as scared as I am, and making this video, this is the super secret video, and the super secret video, because I haven't told anyone at work except for former boss, and my immediate family. So mom, dad, sister, my kids. I got 2 kids, and they're adult children, and they know. I think they're mildly concerned, and the girlfriend who lives with me. I've also told the cat. I don't think he cares. The dog, Robbie, he looks a little concerned, but he always looks concerned. I think he worries a lot. Yeah, Shar-Peis. That particular Shar-Pei. At any rate, and I think that's the list. Oh yeah, and maybe 1 or 2 other people. You say, oh, you haven't told anybody, but you've told all those people. It's like, yeah, it's a very close circle of people that I trust. And I guess the reason for it is I don't want to hear the common responses of taking the easy way out. I don't want to get into a discussion about nutrition or how that's all going to work. I know all these things. I was going to be doing bodybuilding and things like that, and I did, like, not competitively, but weightlifting and things like that. I enjoyed those things. I've got a larger frame, so I wanted to do decent things with it, and I think all I did was fill it with food. Maybe we'll change that. Maybe realistically this is it, that I'll lose some pounds. We'll see how it goes. But I really didn't want to have a whole discussion about what are you doing and why, and you should try it the old-fashioned way, yada 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 yada. I know other people out there who have been considering the surgery may share these concerns. I also know support groups are good. Again, a lot of positive feedback for the comp team at GBMC for supplying the private Facebook group, and they talk about things, and they've got their big reveal. It's probably, ironically, the most comprehensive collection of ways to try to keep the weight off long term and help get it off as we ramp up towards surgery day. Where am I at now? I think I'm at about 328, so from 350 to 328. You do keto. I had a rough patch of that from when I started this little journey again in December of 2018. We had gangbusters. Went from 350 to 324 in a span of 2 months, 2.5 months. And then, there's a whole story about sleep study. It's not really that important, but we're back. We're down to 328, and hopefully by surgery day in a week from now, we'll be even lower. Keto's hard. Just got back tonight from having a few beers, which I didn't have, with people. We've got Labor Day weekend coming up, which is going to be, I'll be during that weekend on what they call on clears, and that basically means clear fluids. It's not 100% clear, but I think if you were having a colonoscopy and look up those kind of things, it's going to be a lot of vitamin water and a lot of Propel and ice pops and ice cubes and some Jello, and that's going to be really filling, and that's from Friday of this week, so maybe 3 days away, and that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday at 5:30 in the morning, surgery. So Dad's coming. He's going to take me to the hospital because they won't let you just drive yourself in. I don't know why. Probably anesthesia, something like that, or also because I'm going to be staying there. It's going to be overnight, and I guess that's what's coming up next. So in future weeks, future days, hopefully I'm going to try to post one of these maybe once a week, as we go through this journey. Um, and we'll see how it all goes. It should be entertaining, or at least something to do as we struggle with maybe some pain, definitely some food choices, and I hear taste buds could change. I hear a lot of things that could be different. It could be interesting, could be boring. I'm sure I'm not the first person who's done this. Again, this is probably mostly for me, but we'll see how it goes. And with that, I guess we'll see you next time.